Here we go. We're playing Niraj. Slams out the old e6. Is he going for a King's Indian? No, he wants a Queen's Gambit declined. Okay. Okay, I can't put my bishop out here. Do I want the bishop here? That's a possibility too. Then I can support the pawn. Okay, if his knight comes here, his knight can't come here until I put my knight here. But actually, I want to play this next. So I just make an escape square for my bishop so that I can put my knight here. If he puts his knight here, I'll just retreat. And then finally I can bring this bishop out. And castle. So this all looks fine. Let's drop back now. I'm thinking of putting my knight here. And he's thinking of stopping me. So knight there, knight takes, pawn takes. Actually, I could still play that. Might be interesting. Now, so he doesn't challenge my knight. So I want to defend the knight with a pawn as well. So if he takes, I'll get a strong outpost pawn here. Now, looks like I should go and attack on the king side here. First, let's bring the rook here. Bring the rook to an open or half-open file. So what's the best idea here? I can actually push the pawn now. No, I can't. I can't push the pawn now. It's not defended. So let's defend it first. That the square is not defended. The pawn, after I push it, will be defended, but the square is not defended. And there was a fork. So I push the pawn. The knight goes here, I think. So let's step over and defend this square. This is part of the plan anyway. When this kind of structure, you often want to bring the queen out on the dark squares here and tack, 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 tack. Yeah, so now I'll push this pawn. He can't take here. He can go here. If he's so intent on avoiding conflict. But yeah, I'll drop my bishop back and kick him again. And now he's actually trapped here, so he's got to do something to avoid the knight trap. Right, all these squares are covered by my bishop, and these squares covered by his pawns, and this square is covered by my pawn. Yeah, so he goes back here. This seems fine. So I could, no, he's got two defenders here. I can't gang up. I mean, I could try, but I can't do anything against this pawn. Bring the queen out now. this this pawn here is undefended. Let's see, if he takes the knight, I can take back with this pawn, though. Then bring a rook over here. Anyway, what I'm thinking of is maybe putting the knight here and taking there, pushing this pawn forward. And Niraj played very quickly, but now he's slowed down to think, and our times are starting to equalize. I mean, I think he's just positionally busted, but I'm not such a good player that I can automatically win from this kind of position. But I have good chances. This frees up his knight. But he put a pawn there. But he wanted to open this for his bishop, I guess. Okay. This is defended by my bishop, even if this gets kicked away. So, knight here. Oh, you know, I probably should have taken this pawn first. How about this? Doesn't work. I was thinking I push the pawn here and he would push, and then I play here, but he just takes it. And I can't take back because the queen defends that. Yeah, I should have grabbed this pawn the previous move. Okay, how about going up against his king here somehow. What's that? He wants to get something on a dark square here and check my king, I guess. So anyway, I can push here now. He wanted the knight there? Okay, this is defended by my bishop. He can hop in here. No, we can't. I'm not sure why he did that. I'm going to create some weaknesses here. So if I go here, and he'll probably push the g pawn. If he pushes the h pawn, then I can step in here. But if he pushes the g pawn, what do I do? Just drop back here. Yeah, I think this should be good. Oh, he brings the king over. So, bring the rook up. One, two, three, four, five. That's a lot of moves. I should get a knight in there. The knight could get there in 1, 2, 3 moves. Okay, he's hitting this pawn. He's looking at this square maybe. But I'm going to go here anyway. This pawn is well defended by the bishop and the queen. So he's hopping in here. He's looking at the check here. So let's control that. And then the knight here and here. Bong to bong. Yeah, I will take that. I'm stopping that pawn from coming forward. Oh, I see. He checks there. Well, very creative play from my opponent, I think. He's going to check here next. But the knight covers that square, but that keeps it tied down. I can't play this move I want to. Let's put the rook here. So this move doesn't come with check. Yeah, so he defends the pawn. Okay, now I go here. Queen takes and then checkmates here, right? You gotta pay attention to your opponent's threats. So yeah, having the knight on this side, the rook on this side was to prevent this move from being with check when he comes down here. So that was a nice win. And how much? With 18 seconds to spare. Let's see, we could play a rapid game now. Shirvan. Ooh, look at that rating, 2185. Starts with F4. Well, I haven't played the Stonewall gambit in a long time. Or should I just play a reverse Dutch? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if I was referring to the Staunton gambit or the Fromm gambit. I think I've got them confused. Ah, but he's going for a Stonewall? What is he doing? Yeah, I think that's a Stonewall. So, I think I will... How am I going to control this square? The knight? Go ahead and put the knight here. And yeah, he wants to control this square. So I'll just play up here and then bring this knight out to trade off whatever he gets here. Yeah, I should castle too. This is defended. This is defended. This is defended. I can castle. Even after castling, these things are all still defended. And if he takes my knight, I will take back with a pawn. And he did play very quickly. Of course, with a rating like that, he may know this as some kind of theoretical position, but I don't think this is a theoretical position, actually. Yeah, going back with the knight is not an indication that he's played that correctly. Okay, I'm going to develop the knight. That's the most logical move. I'm going to have to wander my pieces over to this side. And I think we'll start with the light squared bishop here. Yeah, and I'll just take that. And now, where do I want to put the bishop? Here. And yeah, like I said, we've got to wander these pieces over to the king side. So I'm controlling these squares, so his knight can't come forward from there. He's blocked his bishop. I think just bring the rook here. Now, what do I do here? Take the pawn, see which way he takes back. Let's see, if he takes back with the e-pawn, then this is can come forward. Might be useful. Can't really put my bishop here because his knight will take it. If I push this pawn forward, keep him backwards over here. That's a very static structure, but sometimes interesting. Yeah, I think maybe bring the queen over, or maybe push the bishop out here, opposing his bishop. If he ever pushes this pawn now, I can take en passant and then I'll have pressure here. So that's kind of the justification for this move. The queen from this square could actually go here too. Put pressure on this pawn. Or it could directly go here. But I think, yeah, I want to do more stuff on the light squares over here by the king. I think that's where the action is. And now he's started to use some time, so that's good. Well, with a rating like this, he'll find some tactical way to probably find some tactical way to destroy me. He decided to save his dark squared bishop. Yeah, so he's okay with me taking the light squared bishop too. Interesting. Because I thought that would be good for me. So now I can bring the queen out. And push this pawn. I guess I can't ever push this pawn, or not easily push it. I could do something like this: pawn up, queen up. He takes, take with the pawn. So he stepped aside. Yeah, I guess maybe he didn't like the fact that I had a pin on this pawn, or maybe he's going to put his rook over here. So now there's this great fork. his king and queen are in forking position, but unfortunately this pawn is protected twice. If he just moves the bishop away, then knight takes here. Would be a great trick using the pin. I'm thinking, actually, bishop here. So I expect he'll just put the knight back to stop that. Maybe he has some other plan. Queen there. It's not so easy to defend. If he defends with the bishop, I can take it and then take the pawn. The knight can't defend it. The rook can't defend it. And it can't move. It's blockaded by the knight, my knight. Well, it's not the most important pawn. This pawn is also defended over here. So he goes there. When I take, it's an attack on his queen. The queen will have to move. It can't take here. Where will the queen go? Here or here? And I can still take the pawn at the end of the day. And now I will have a passed pawn. So now this does become an important pawn. Oh, really? So I just take. Yeah, I guess he decided my bishop was better than his. I could avoid trading. But this seems like it should be good. I get my rook over here with tempo. My queen's already in a good spot. I have an entry point here. Yeah, he probably had to do that. Because I was threatening to bring my rook to this square. Now, I don't actually want to take unless we really exchange everything. If I could get my rook here, he takes, I take, queen takes, pawn takes. Let's see. And then after pawn takes, he brings his king over to take my extra pawn. So king here, I throw this pawn forward, king up, pawn here. I'm just a little slow to get there. Plus he could push this pawn to prevent me from defending that one. So it would be bad for me to exchange out like that. Maybe, though, I can set it up like so. Yeah, he decided to do that. Okay, he's got a double check. I mean a double threat. Well spotted. That's why it's tough to play these strong players, huh? I can win some pawns over here. Check here, king steps up. Check here, king goes back. Or check here, king steps up, check here, king goes back. Yeah, you know, this is a dangerous pawn here. When he takes it, he'll have a passed pawn too. But my passed pawn is also looking pretty good. So check, check, push the pawn. His queen takes here or here. And then I push the pawn again, threatening mate, but then he gets all these checks. Is there a way to... well, I don't need to defend both of them. I just need to maybe get my queen back here somehow. That would defend both of them, wouldn't it? Check, king here, check, king back. Can check again. Check again. I'm just going to start checking and hope I can find something. I can walk my queen back towards the center, because his king always has to step back. We're getting there. Now I had the wrong idea. If I check here, then check here. Right, check, he goes back, check, he goes up, check here, he goes back, then I get my queen here. Funny triangulation. Yeah, and we got the queen to a square that defends the two pawns. And there's this passed pawn, plus I snagged a pawn over here. So should be all right. Ah, he's going to pick up a pawn there. That's all right. Get my king to safety. Away from the checks. With the pawn here, I'll be threatening a check here also. So his queen is kind of limited in what it can do. Yep, keep it on those squares. Just push through on the other side. Actually, I can't push through. This, as long as the queen stays on this diagonal, it will stop. For example, if I push this pawn here, take, and then normally you would just queen this pawn after that. But his queen is guarding that queening square and stopping this pawn from coming forward. But what I can do is I can get these pawns into the best possible position and then offer a queen trade here. So he decided to go back there after all. Now here looks pretty dangerous. Ah, if I go here, the queen will step back there, huh? I have an idea. Push this pawn forward one. Get my queen on this diagonal. I do need to defend there. Okay, he is breaking through. And I'm one step short of where I want to be. Shoot. He takes. Okay, now my idea is to put my queen here. He comes in here with check or here with check and go here, check, can walk over here and eventually escape those checks, right? I hope. Maybe queens with those pawns. But queen check here is kind of dangerous. This is still a protected passed pawn. And as long as the queen is checking, the pawns are not advancing. And if the queen stops checking, I come in here and check and mate. Check and mate. I think he realizes the danger because he does have another check here, but he didn't just automatically play it. Maybe because I step aside, I step up. Next check here, I step up again. At some point, I think he will run out of checks. But he's getting his queen back to where it can defend, so it's no longer a mate threat. Except there's actually a second mate threat here. Yeah, okay, so how do I stop the check here? He could maybe push this pawn forward. I take, it's check, he has to take, I take. Then he pushes this pawn, I push this pawn. He pushes here, I push here, he queens, I queen with check. Very double-edged position. Yep, these wily players, 2100 and up, pretty strong. Found a way back into the game. There's probably a point there where I was really winning. But I couldn't keep the counterplay contained. Looks like, yeah, he's taking his time to calculate that out. I mean, you don't want to give up the queens and go into a king and pawn endgame unless you're sure you can win it. Maybe I could even get 2 queens, huh? So he decided against that. But I think he's running out of checks. You know, here though is interesting because there's no mate threat from this position. If I go here, there's still a mate threat, and he doesn't have a check, right? And he doesn't have any way to get back and defend this square, so I think I win. Yeah, funny. Running all the way forward to escape the check, so my king was over here, walked through here, and then came out here. Came all the way up next to his king. And he resigned. Yeah, because I was so sure it was mate. I thought it was going to be mate immediately, but of course he goes here. But this is mate. It is a mate. So no way out of it. That mate threat hanging over his head. It's a very interesting position here. So what I was talking about during the game is he could have played this fork. I have to take. He has to take. Then he can push this pawn. Is this winning for him? The thing is, this pawn looks like it's close, but he can stop this pawn. So I have to do this pawn. So he queens first, but I queen with check. So he didn't want to go into this. I guess he was right, because the king has to go here, only move, check, and the king has to go back. Here is mate. Here is mate in the same pattern we saw before. So we go here, still check here. Yeah, he gets mated anyway. So, well, that was a nice game, I think. See you next time. Bye.